You may know him as the beautiful long-haired Jesus from The Walking Dead and the handsome blue-eyed genius Malcolm on his hit Prodigal Son series. Or maybe you go way back with him as Phil from Miss Pettigrew, Live for a Day. In any case, this is not a night terror about the surgeon. It's Talking Shop with Mr. Tom Payne. Welcome to Talking Shop. Now the show has officially started.
You need some music.
You know what? Instagram needs to let us kind of spice this up a little bit. I think it's all new, and now that maybe they're going to get into. How have you been? What have you been doing? How are you staying at home?
Good. I mean, I had just finished like 8 months in New York. So, and New York was really crunching when we were finishing up. So it was a bit of a scramble to get the show to a place where we had enough material to air, and also just to get the hell out of there. So I'm really lucky in that I was living in an apartment in New York, but I've come back to Los Angeles where we have a house with some outside space, and I mean, we're really lucky in that respect. So, and actually having a house that we've had for a couple of years now, and I haven't been here that much. It's actually been nice. I've been doing loads of gardening and like doing like house stuff, which I haven't had time to do. So we've been pretty good so far, and we have some fruit trees, and we have our local store has been doing an amazing job of stocking up. So we haven't had to really venture out to the grocery stores in a way. So we've been pretty fortunate with the whole thing. But and then we haven't killed each other yet, which is nice. Jen's got her like little studio set up at home. So she's been working on music and I've really just been enjoying being at home and being together. I mean, we were supposed to get married last weekend.
Yeah, I was about to say, you guys just had what was your wedding day, and it's postponed, right? So I mean, that's got to be kind of tricky. Like, I mean, at least you guys are doing all right.
Yeah, we were cool with it. Like, we had a lot of people like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," blah blah blah. But actually, we were just, there are way more important things, and it's not like we're breaking up or anything. Like, we can get married next year, so that's fine. And obviously, like, we were going to get married in New York, and that was just literally the epicenter of everything at that point. So it's just nice that we have each other, and we're happy at home. So we're fine with it. And when all of the vendors that we work with were really nice, and they've all said that they'll move it. So that's been fine. It was just nice to get home and be with each other. And at the end of the season, I had already decided that I was going to treat myself with a couple of things. So I bought a pizza oven, like a really cool, like portable pizza oven that I've been learning to make the dough, and I haven't quite mastered that yet. So I've had like little things that I've been working on at home. But I know that around the country, it's starting to bite hard for some people, and we know how fortunate we are. I mean, to have just finished a job, I mean, that was just the timing was amazing. If I was going back to being an unemployed actor, like just before The Walking Dead, when I barely had any money, I would be in a bit of trouble right now. So we're very sympathetic to people at this time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us are fortunate to be in the position we're in, but it is scary for a lot of people. But you mentioned Walking Dead. We're going to talk about Prodigal Son as well. You and I first connected because of The Walking Dead. That's how we met. And I can't believe how long ago that was already. I mean, it's been so many years. Like, do you remember your first day on that show?
Yeah, I do, because it was it was a big whirlwind that I got cast on the Friday. Jennifer was in Sweden and I was in England, so they wanted me to fly straight out, but I was like, okay, I've got to go and see Jen because I don't know how long I'm going to be out there for. So I flew to Stockholm, but then I was in Atlanta on Monday and we started shooting on Wednesday. So it was a big whirlwind trip. So yeah, I remember it pretty well. And they were shooting in Alexandria when they had just been overrun by all the walkers. So they were shooting all of that stuff where they just kill all the walkers, and Chandler gets shot in the face and all that stuff. So I arrived and everyone was covered in blood, and it was like proper welcome to the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that pretty vividly actually, and staying in the hotel in Peachtree City that everyone stays at. And
I think I've stayed at that hotel. I think I've stayed down there too. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a couple different ones, and everyone ends up like swapping between them because they get sick of one, so they go to the other one. And I was kind of fortunate in that I shot down there for 3 episodes, but Ross and other people, I think Alana as well, like stayed in those hotels for a long time at the beginning, and like Nadia I think did as well. She was there for a while that first season, but that first season I only did 3 episodes, so. And then the next season I got my own place in Atlanta. So
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's what a ride that sounds like. I remember you and I were talking before season 9 started, and you were kind of like ready to bet on yourself, I'd say, but you had no idea that Prodigal Son was going to come up. Like you knew kind of like you might find your way, and you were confident. And so I'm curious, like as an actor, when that is such a gamble, regardless, to some extent, it does feel like a gamble. How did you kind of make the decision to be okay with, all right, if this is the year I leave, this is it, and I'll go find something? How do you kind of like go through that in your mind?
I had a pretty ultimately came down to just happiness in my job, and I was just like, well, I've done this for 3 years, and that was the longest I've ever done any acting job as well.
Yeah.
And I was kind of, I mean, I've spoken about this previously, but like I was kind of done everything that I wanted to do on the show, and I didn't really see the point in hanging around and just waiting for something to happen. And the fans, you know, we'd done some fight stuff, which was really cool, but it didn't seem like it was really going to go. His storyline was going to really develop much, and everyone was like jockeying for position on that show and like waiting for their time to shine, and I just kind of over it, really.
Yeah, I mean, I
okay.
could see that it became kind of crowded, right? I mean, like it was like everybody.
Yeah. But that's the nature of the show, and
Yeah,
I also just had felt like my career and where I was going had been on this ascendant, and I really, and The Walking Dead is absolutely the bedrock of my career now, and it really helped me carry on that. But I just felt like, okay, I'm done, and I'm ready to move on to whatever the next thing is, and I was really fortunate in that I had been doing all these conventions where we met at a bunch of conventions and stuff, and I had met a bunch of fans, and I had managed to put some money away and be able to take my time over my next choice. And I was willing to take a year off, and I was lucky to be in the position that I could. And then Prodigal Son came along, and I'd never done network television in America. I'd done like HBO and AMC and I was kind of thinking, well, I don't know if I want to be in a long running TV show again after Walking Dead, unless it like really pushes me and the part is worth it. And just so many things slotted into place with Prodigal Son. And I went out for breakfast with my best friend out here, and I was like, listen, let's go through this. And like, what do you think? Like, should I, and this is before I'd even been offered the role. It was like, should I get involved in this? And there just weren't many minus points, really. It was Greg Berlanti who was producing. He was just like uber produced, like, and also lovely man. And his partner, Sarah Schechter, who was producing it with him. Lee Toland Krieger was a great director who was doing it. It was Warner Brothers. It was the new Fox with Charlie Collier, who had just come over from AMC. And the part was amazing. And then Michael Sheen had just signed on. And I was just like, well, there's no way I'm not going to get an opportunity like this again. And I want to see if I could do it as well. And it was incredibly stressful, and it's the hardest job I've ever had, but incredibly rewarding at the same time. And I've had a blast doing it. It was definite ups and downs, and there were definite tears at times. Tears of stress, but we were lucky. We had an amazing cast and crew, and we got through it. And in the same way, it's another step on the in the path. And actually now, having this as a different step in my career, I'm looking at creating myself and producing other parts and expanding my career in a different direction as well, which I'm excited about.
That's exciting. I mean, I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. I do want to ask, because yesterday we had Lamorne Morris on here. He played Winston on New Girl, and I asked him if he took anything from the set, because obviously I like stuff, as you can see. I've got a few things. I got Rick's hat right here. I've got a few things. But before you left Walking Dead or on Prodigal Son, since you guys wrapped the first season, have you ever taken some props? Because he took home so much stuff from New Girl. I don't know how he fit it in the car.
I'm a bit wary of, because I don't want my house to be full of stuff. I know Jennifer definitely doesn't want our house to be full of random crap. But we've set up a little study in the house now and decided that can be my little area. So I'm like, okay, now I have a place to put stuff. But I took from, and I actually don't know where they are now, but Jen's watching us on her phone outside.
Hi, Jen. Hi, I hope you're well. Haven't seen you in a while.
I took some bullets from the Battle of Alexandria.
Oh, I have some of those too from episode 100.
Oh yeah,
I have some of those as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
from
funny.
outside, I was like, well, this is kind of cool, and actually, I was thinking like this is a cool thing to give to fans and stuff, like spend
Yeah.
bullet casings from the Battle for Alexandria. But aside from that, I have like not really. I have the cast gifts that Andy gave people. For the last season that I was on, everyone got an axe, which was really cool, with like an engraved axe,
Wow.
and a
Oh yeah,
flag.
yeah.
So we had some cool cast and crew gifts. We have a really cool green camouflage jacket, but any of those gifts that get given, the cast can't really wear them because it says like Walking Dead all over it, or like Prodigal
Yeah.
Son. Like they always
Yeah.
have those insignias on, so they're great for the crew who wear them in general life, but also wear them on set when they're working. And sometimes they're really nice. Like I have a really nice jacket from Walking Dead, but I'm not sure if I can wear it.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't really lend themselves to wearing it to the mall to go shopping or anything like that.
No.
Can't really wear those clothes out to dinner. Okay, so Prodigal Son now. I'm obligated to tell you that my mom loves the show. She convinced me to get started. I was a few weeks late on it, and she was like, "This show's great. You got to go watch Tom on it." And I was like, "All right, cool, dude. You guys are killing it. You're brilliant on it."
Thank you.
The whole cast. I mean, character moments. There's like, I mean, it's scary at times. Like it's really good. But I'm curious. Like, obviously it's bigger for you. There's more for you to do than there was in Walking Dead. What are some of the biggest challenges in that transition? I mean, from Georgia to New York, from supporting to lead. What were some of the biggest challenges for you to take this on?
Well, I'm in practically every scene, which just physically and mentally is a whole other thing. So I don't like, I'm a big prep person, and I really like to put my prep in, and like, but I just on this I don't necessarily have time in order to sit down with each script just before we do it and go through it and mark everything out. And so a lot of the time I'm more dependent in this show on the writers and on the producers and directors to help me through it in a lot of different ways. But I trust them, and everything, everything does work out and it's all great. But to do 22 episodes of a television show is very different, first of all, to doing 16 on The Walking Dead, but also to not even be, I was like number 200 and something on The Walking Dead and like number one on this show. So it's a lot more taxing, but a lot more rewarding as well, because I also have the ear of the producers and the directors, so we can have, if I have a problem with something, or if I just have a question, I can call up the showrunner straight away and be like, hey, what's to do with this, and can we change this maybe, or like move this around, but always for the benefit of the show. Like I'm not narcissistic in a way that like I need to look cooler in this scene.
Right.
It's just like this just needs to this needs to work in a way that benefits everyone, and there are story beats that we need to figure out. So that I'm much more involved, which is really nice. And also it's a network show, so there's a lot more. Doing a show on Fox is different from doing a show on HBO or AMC, just even from virtue of like you can't swear or you can't show certain things or you can't whatever. So there are a few more hoops that they have to jump through. And this is a procedural show in a lot of ways. So each week there's a case of the week, which is easier for the audience. Like if you can just pick up and watch it. Whereas like we would always want to have like a long arcing storyline, and we've done some of those, but a bit over a bit of a shorter period, because you don't want to alienate people who are just dropping in and out of the season.
Right.
And like a show like Game of Thrones or Sopranos or something, they have like year-on-year growth, and it's a bit of a. Chris Hardwick, I did his podcast not long ago, and he was saying like, I know that The Wire is one of the best series of television ever, but it's quite intimidating to like jump in. That you have to catch up on the whole thing. So those long running shows start small and then gain over the years. And then CSI and whatever, CSI and those shows still get like 15 million viewers or something.
Insane. It's insane. And they have like 15 million shows too.
Yeah, I know. It's really crazy. So we're trying to like tread the line in between those things really, and have these like arcing storylines, but also have that you can just pick up and play with the show a little bit. And we're so fortunate. We have such a great cast. Like if you just watch one scene with me and Michael, or with me and Bellamy, or me and Lou, and like you're just like, oh, this is a really interesting dynamic, and we feel like you can spend time with the characters and enjoy it. And what I also love about the show is that it's so bonkers. Like, it's just like, it is scary, and then it's funny, and then it's shocking, and then it's just all these things together. And I think, you know, we don't always nail it, but I always want to be part of something which is like just shooting for the moon, you know. Like, I love that about it. And like, you got to swing for the fences, and that's what I've done my whole career, and take chances and go for it. And I love that we're doing that, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean, in spades, you guys are doing that. All right, so I have a special guest in addition to you today. I brought my mom in. I promised her one question about Prodigal Son. She's here via FaceTime because we can't hang out because of quarantine. I don't know what her question is. She better keep it appropriate. All right, Ma, fire away.
Hey, Tom.
Hi.
Hi, congratulations on Prodigal Son. I am your biggest cheerleader.
Thank you.
Now, my question, you know, the scenes that you do with Michael, are they like, I mean, for me, they're totally emotionally draining. Are they mentally and emotionally? Because you two are amazing together. He's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it like training on you to do those scenes? Because like just this week with the eyes and I don't know.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, actually, I've said that in a few interviews now. Those scenes, it's just me and him most of the time, and we've done family scenes and other people in those scenes, which takes the pressure off me a little bit. In a way, they're very emotionally draining because ultimately, it's a classic like love-hate relationship, like, and that's why he calls him Dr. Whitley. Is like he wants to keep some distance from him, but ultimately he's his dad and he wants a hug. So it's just always
when he screamed "Dad" when he thought he was in trouble, right?
Yeah. I know that's a big part of it.
Dad, so that's you guys.
Everyone does.
You guys are just amazing. Your whole cast is amazing, but when you two have scenes together, I mean, it's just amazing. So, are you gonna leave us hanging?
Hey, all right, you're stealing my job. You see where I get it from. You see where I get it.
Are you gonna leave me hanging next week?
That was my next question. I mean,
there's a very cool resolution to some storylines, but obviously there has to be something leading to something else in the hopes that we get a season 2. So there's some shocking moments in the next episode, which are really cool. Like, it's a very cool last episode. Very fun finale.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
All right. Stay home. All right. Well, yeah, I was going to ask, I mean, about the finale. We just had this episode. We have the finale coming up. A lot of theories. Malcolm a killer, maybe. The night terrorist ticket. I mean, I'm reading a lot of stuff. I'm coming up with stuff myself. I feel like you gave a pretty good tease, so I won't pry there. I'll end it with this since we're Comicbook.com. We got to talk a little bit about superheroes. Who is your favorite? Did you ever grow up on comics? Did you read any comics? Who's your favorite superhero?
Not really. But obviously everyone knows Superman and Batman and Spider-Man and all that kind of stuff. But so no, not from the stance of comic books, but I have to say Batman was always my favorite growing up. And I think he's a lot of people's favorites. And I do think that Robert is a very good choice for the new Batman.
I think he's going to be good, man.
I think so. He's got the jawline.
Oh, dude, I don't know. Like, what is in the water with some of you actors, man? I need to borrow some of that jawline because you guys.
It's all about you got to shape your beard. My brother even said to me the other day, "It's like, how did you get your beard to shape your jaw like that?" And I was like, you literally just cut a jawline into your face. And I've noticed a lot of guys have caught onto that now. With like a lot of guys with like rounder faces, like they purposefully grow a beard and shape it to a point, and it really works.
It's our version of contour. It's the male version of contour.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely is. But it's just a bit more masculine. Who's playing the bad guys in the Batman movie?
Oh, that cast is stacked. You have Colin Farrell, Paul Dano, right. Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman. I don't know where Catwoman's gonna fall.
But we don't know who's the main bad guy yet, do we?
Yeah, we don't know who the main villain is. It's probably going to be like a version of the Long Halloween comic, which is like there's a bunch of villains, and they're all. But I'm sure there's going to be one central villain in one way or another. So we have the Riddler, we have the Penguin. I mean, that cast is unreal. And Matt Reeves, he directed War for Planet of the Apes, and he's killer. But all right, if you get in the saddle, if Marvel or DC was like, you get anyone you want, who is it?
Well, I've told you this before, but I think I could be a more height-appropriate Wolverine.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Man, Do you think you could do those Hugh Jackman workouts? Because, dude, you talk about physically draining.
I think because I'm a smaller person, and I've, there's actually, well, I can't remember what episode it is, but there was an episode of Prodigal Son where I wake up in my underwear, and you can see I can put the beef on, and I was pretty heavy at that time, and I can do it definitely. But Hugh Jackman was because he's so tall and big, he had to eat so much. It's like Chris Hemsworth. You have to eat so much, to spend so much money on food, and I mean, I think I would have to work out like a bit less, but still, it's a huge thing. There's another property that I would love to be involved in, which is the new Highlander. I'm a huge Highlander fan, and I got hold of a script for the new version, and like it's really cool. And I don't know if Stahelski, who's going to direct it, is ever going to get around to it in the next few years, but that's definitely a really cool franchise as well.
Can you imagine what Chad Stahelski can do with Highlander action scenes?
Yeah, amazing.
Oh,
really
it'd be unreal. Well, man, I mean, I think it's only a matter of time till you're in one of these major films. I can't wait to see it. I got my fingers crossed for you. Well, I'll be looking forward to the Prodigal Son finale next week. Dude, thank you for joining us on Talking Shop, and staying safe and staying home.
Thanks, man. You too. Much love.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Talk to you soon.